taking time and dialing in to Gita Mahotsav' 2021. My name is Nimit Shishodia, and I represent an organization called as Soham Foundation, based out in the UK, which we'll be talking a bit more in detail later on. Now, today we have curated this program celebrating Gita Jayanti, and we have a lot of ecosystem partners with us who are specialized in various different streams of promoting Hinduism within UK. And we are glad to have those delegates from various organizations, naming London Institute of Vedic Education, Hindu Forum of Britain, Chinmay Mission, Sanskriti, and few more will be coming and joining us today. So I welcome you all for the event. The event is primarily divided into three parts. To start with, we'll have a bit of introduction and few bhajans from Shivam Music. So we have Krishanji from Shivam Music. He'll be doing some bhajans. We have some shlokas recitation from kids, which we have pre-recorded. And we also have one dance performance just to set the stage up. And then we'll go to the phase 2 of the program, which is the discourses section, where we'll be inviting our guest lecturers to talk about the topic, which is focusing more around the knowledge and the wisdom from Gita. Our delegates have picked up a topic of their interest, and they will be talking about it. And then just as a closure, we'll have a panelist round where we'll be asking questions to the panelists, and I'm sure the audience will have some questions. So the floor will be open for questions and answers, and any other further discussion around the Gita and its principles. Now, Gita, as in a nutshell, is a very complicated subject. There are plenty of interpretations around it. Now, the problem itself is not in the Gita. It's the interpretation that matters, and everyone, the way they perceive the knowledge and they interpret is what defines how they implement that principle in their life. So the idea of today's Mahotsav is to bring various aspects, various perceptions, various interpretations all together in one platform, so we can have an intellectual conversation across various principles and try to understand and have a better getaway from these principles, from Gita principles, and then be able to adopt in our life. So with that, I would like to invite Krishanji for his performance. And Krishanji is a very talented artist, and he runs his own sort of Shivam Music, which is a non-profit organization, and he does a lot of charity events. He's always a singer in most of our events. So, Krishanji, over to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Jai Shri Krishna sabko, Jai Shri Ram. Bolo Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki jai. जाने क्या जादू भरा हुआ भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में, मन चमन हमारा भरा हुआ भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में, जाने क्या जादू भरा हुआ भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में, मन चमन हमारा भरा हुआ भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में। गीता ग्रंथों से न्यारी है, श्रुति जुगति अनुभवकारी है। गीता ग्रंथों से न्यारी है, श्रुति जुगति अनुभवकारी है। युग युग का
भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में युग युग का अनुभव जुड़ा हुआ। भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में जाने क्या जादू भरा हुआ। जब शोक मोह से गिर जाए तब गीता वचन हृदय लागे। जब शोक मोह से गिर जाए तब गीता वचन हृदय लागे। कल्याण खजाना भरा हुआ श्री कृष्ण तुम्हारी गीता में। कल्याण खजाना भरा हुआ श्री कृष्ण तुम्हारी गीता में। गोपाल तुम्हारी गीता में। गोविंद तुम्हारी गीता में। श्री कृष्ण तुम्हारी गीता में। भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में जाने क्या जादू भरा हुआ। गीता संतों का जीवन है। गंगा के समाधि पावन है। गीता संतों का जीवन है। गंगा के समाधि पावन है। शरणागत अमृत भरा हुआ। भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में। शरणागत अमृत भरा हुआ। भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में जाने क्या जादू भरा हुआ। भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में मन चमन हमारा भरा हुआ। भगवान तुम्हारी गीता में घनश्याम तुम्हारी गीता में। गोपाल तुम्हारी गीता में। गोविंद तुम्हारी गीता में। श्री कृष्ण तुम्हारी गीता में। बोले कृष्ण कन्हैया लाल की जय। Thank you guys again for giving me such a honor to perform for you guys, and I wish you all the best for tonight. It's an absolute, definitely a worthy cause. You know, the more people can understand our Gita, the more it will help people in the world and themselves. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Krishanji. Mayaji, I think we lost you for a second. Okay, that's
Krishanji. Can you hear me?
Maji.
So,
Yes, you're back on
yes,
now.
so Krishanji was born and raised in the UK. Listening to his 17, he actually started performing and singing bhajans and garba. And it's really nice to see that somebody born and brought up here, Srimad Bhagavad Gita, without dharma. So it's really nice. So thank you so much, Krishanji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahaji.
Thank you so much. It's just a shame that we only have to hear one. I wish we could have more, but we have a long night. So thank you very much again, Krishanji. Really pleasure to have you here. Thank you. Okay, with that, just sort of a few guidelines. Of course, it's online. So and thanks to Omicron, I think we're probably getting back to the online word again. So as we know that there are issues at times with the internet, so please bear with us. If there are any other security challenges, please bear. We will try to, like, let's say if there is some unfortunate thing happens, so we'll take control of it. In past, we have to close down the meetings and restart them. So we'll send out the links. That can happen as well. Now with this, so there is a small part. So there are new folks joining. Thank you very much for joining. And just for them, so we're just sort of having introduction and warm-up sessions with a bit of cultural functions, and just one bhajan we had gonna have shlokas now, and then we'll have a performance. Then we'll move on to the core of the program, which is the discourses. So with this, a few of our kids actually have prepared a brilliant performance of Gita shlokas, and I'll be glad to share with them. Now, we have today actually speakers from London Institute of Education. They're doing a phenomenal job in terms of teaching shlokas to kids, and Prabhuji will be speaking more about it. And we have few kids from live who have done amazingly, and you yourself can see how nicely they pronounce and everything. And I think it's brilliant to see how the younger generation picking up the Hindu elements while in the UK itself. So let's just welcome our
Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me, always, without a doubt. Evam satatayaktaye bhaktastvam parivasate yachapya aksharam avyaktam tesam ke yoga vittamaha. Arjun inquired, which are considered to be more perfect, those who are always properly engaged in a devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? Dharmasya Glanir Bhavati Varata Abhyatanam Adharmasya Tadatmanam Srijamaham. Lord Krishna says, I'm coming when there is loss of religion, then I'm coming. When the inquinity increases, then I'm coming to protect the gentlemen. To destroy the wicked, I'm coming in to establish religion, and I'm born of the age of error. Pranapana samayukta pachamyannam chaturvidam. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the 4 kinds of foodstuff. Kalmani Vadi Karaste, Mafalesho, Gadatana, Makalma, Fala, Hetul Bulma, Tisangustava Kalmani. Chedante Sastrani, Nanan Date Pavaka, Nachanan Klediantapo, Nasoshiati Marda. Here the Lord Krishna is talking about immortal soul. Weapons cannot cleave it, nor the fire can burn, nor the waters drench it, nor the wind dry.
Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me, always, without a doubt.
Thank you very much. That was the kids' recitation of the shlokas. Thank you, Prabhuji, for all the help with that. That was, I think, fantastic. And I think we have Poonaji as well joined the call with. So thank you very much for that. Now, can I invite Mayaji to say a few words about certain causes and then sort of have a, Mayaji, can you hear? Thank you.
Om Namaskar, Hare Krishna, everybody. Just to give everybody a little bit of background. And I'm very fortunate to be one of the trustees of Soham Foundation. I'm also a director at Hinduism Worldwide Inc. and very privileged to be there as well. And Soham Foundation started with a few like-minded people that were very affected by the COVID situation, and we lost loved ones in India. So we really needed to do something rather than just sit. Nimitji said we've got to actually do something about it. So we got together and we did a 100-kilometer bike ride around the mandirs in London, 13 hours in the pouring rain. We were very fortunate that we raised just under £10,000, and we were able to purchase and send some oxygen concentrators to remote villages in India and help save some lives. Off the back of that, Nimitji actually decided we needed to set up Soham Foundation and established it. And we were able to then send one of our own bike riders, Madhukar, to India, and he did groundwork over there, where we donated blanket and various other things to the needy children over there, particularly focusing both parents during COVID. We still carry on. We also support lots of organizations with events and fundraising. We support Hindu samstas and Hindu organizations who unite all the Hindus as well, and we want to get all the Hindu groups together. And that's basically Soham Foundation in a nutshell. And then I think, Nimitji, we're going to go over to maybe Dushanti or...
Yeah, sure. I think Dushan probably is still in transit. He's stuck in traffic. We'll have him soon. So, I think
we have Dushanti with us.
There we go. Okay. Hey, Dushan. Sorry. So let me just do one thing. Let me just finish my part and I'll hand it over to Dushan to start the discourses now. We have one performance just to sort of wrap up now. So 7:30 we'll be starting the discourses session. And there's one talented dancer who given us a performance for the Gita Mahotsav', Yada Yada Dharmase, and be just showing that. And after this, we will just kick off our discourses session.
Bhagavad Gita.
धर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् विनाशाय च दुष्कृता ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानमधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्मसंस्थापनाय सम्भवामि युगे युगे
So that was Apsaraji for us. She kindly have donated this video to Soham Foundation to use it. Hopefully next year we'll do it live. So with that, without any further delays, I would like to introduce my colleague and one of the trustees of Soham Foundation, Dushant Pandit. And Dushant will tell his story, but Dushant has been longest with Soham, one of the bike riders, as Mayaji was saying. Soham is quite a young organization, and we're passionate about the causes for India, for Hinduism, and various other things we do. So now we'll start the discourses session, and Dushant will be introducing all the panelists and guiding us all the way through the discourses, and we'll just follow through. So Dushant, all over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Navedji, and welcome everyone. Hope everyone is enjoying the performances so far. But next part is quite interesting. We have a very elite panel of individuals who will share their experience, their knowledge into Dharma, into Hindutva, into Hinduism, into Gita. They are going to share this with all of us. We are privileged to have them today, so thank you very much, everyone. We'll start off with Navinandan Das, and just to give a quick introduction about him, he's the co-founder of London Institute of Vedic Education, and he's a preacher of Vedic Dharma for over 30 years, so quite an experienced person. And some of his main activities include online seminars, and he's delivered over 1,100 of them since March 2020, so which is quite a feat in itself, because to do so many within such a short time is phenomenal. He's also held school assemblies in over 76 schools in the autumn term of 2021. Again, another phenomenal achievement. And then there are other things such as organizing and sponsoring 184 girls in Vrindavan, and establishing water wells in Brajbhumi. So really looking forward to hear from Navinandan Das. I'll hand over to him now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Hare Krishna. I'd like to thank everybody for attending. And I wanted to, before we start actually, just pray to spiritual master. Om Gyanam Timirandasya Gyanam Jalasalataya Chakshuran Militan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. So there, as Nimitji said very nicely, that there's so many interpretations of the Bhagavad Gita. It sometimes gets very confusing. But Krishna said one thing, and we have about 100 or 200 different interpretations of what he said. Anyway, one of the things that flows right through the Bhagavad Gita is the concept of bhakti. Bhakti means devotional service, loving service to the Supreme Lord. And I wanted to focus in on that. And especially, I was very gratified to see Shavi was chanting from the 12th chapter. And 12th chapter is all about Bhakti Yoga, service. And 12th chapter comes in the middle portion. So the first 6 chapters deal with the Karma Yoga. The last 6 chapters deal with the Gyan Yoga. And the 6 middle chapters are classified as Bhakti Yoga. And the essence of Bhakti Yoga is given by Krishna in the 12th verse, 12th chapter. It starts with Arjuna asking him a question. What is better, to worship your personal form, your two-handed, three-bending form, Tribhanganandan, or your impersonal form, the light that emanates from you? And Krishna is really clear in his answer that both are part of myself. However, if one is worshipping the unmanifested, it's really going to be difficult in this age, in this material world. Better to worship my personal form. He says in the 2nd verse, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be the most perfect. And then later on, in another verse, he says, in text number 7, he says, for them, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Now, we are very fortunate. We have got this human form of life. We are very, very lucky. We've won the lottery. In this human form of life, we can perfect our consciousness and make our consciousness linked with God. And the easiest way, what Krishna is explaining in 12th chapter, is by linking it or meditating on his personal form. If we meditate on his personal form, he promises, I will be the swift deliverer for you from this ocean of birth and death. But the beauty of Krishna is he knows that we will struggle in this world. So he gives us options. Again, in the 12th chapter, starting with the text number 8. And Shavi beautifully read this in English as well as chanting the Sanskrit. Krishna says, okay, best thing is if you can focus your mind and intelligence onto me. And if you can do that, then you will live in me always, without a doubt. But Arjuna must have looked at him and said, not possible. I've got a battle to fight here. I'm not going to be able to focus my mind and intelligence on you. So Krishna said, okay, I'll give you another option. If you can't fix your mind upon me, then follow the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga. Arjuna again must have nodded, no chance, not in this battle. All right, Krishna says, I'll be more flexible. If you can't follow the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then work for me. Work for me. That way you will come to the perfect stage. So this is all part of Bhakti Yoga. Krishna is just lowering the bar. And he's actually lowering the bar for us. And he's saying, if you can't even work for me, then give up the fruits, the results of your work. And in that way, you become self-situated. You're too miserly. You can't give up the fruits of your labor. All right. Then try to meditate upon me. Oh, you can't meditate because your mind is not fixed. Then the minimum that you must do is get some gyan, get some knowledge about me. So this is Krishna's lowering the bar all the time. So the minimum we can do is actually gain knowledge about the Supreme Lord. And the best way to do that is by reading the Bhagavad Gita. And Gita Jayanti is all about reading the Bhagavad Gita. Now, I've gone a little bit over time. I'll stop there and I'll hand you back to Nimit and team.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Just one thing to mention. So Prabhuji's from the live, they are doing a Gita recitations. So as a starting of the Mahotsav, we had on Tuesday, we had the English recitation, and tomorrow the kids, around 20 of them, will be doing the Sanskrit recitation. So feel free to get in touch. We can give you some details about it if you want to join. It's all online. So thank you very much, Prabhuji.
These kids are a little bit older, huh?
Thank you very much. Even though amazing. So thank you. Over to you, Dushyant. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. That was wonderful. And really, I mean, such insightful, amazingly put. But the next speaker is, give me some time. I'll take a little bit more time to introduce this one, Mrs. Trupti Patel. And she, well, what can I say? She's the first Hindu woman in the UK to be appointed president of the National Faith Umbrella Body. It's the largest national Hindu organization. Then the Hindu Forum of Britain, she's the founding member of Hindu Forum of Britain and has been serving it for nearly 20 years now. About her, she's a trained civil engineer. She's got a bachelor's degree in civil engineering from Sardar Patel University in India and achieved post-graduation in highways and transportation from the City University in London. She became a fellow of the Chartered Institution of Highways and Transportation UK. And in 2004, she was the first person, a civil engineer of Asian origin in the UK, to hold the highest office in a local government. Then she went on to become the first woman of Indian origin in the field of traditionally associated, which was traditionally associated by men usually. Now, over the years, she was humbled and she began volunteering to build her own experience with roles such as the president of Hindu Council of North, vice president with the Hindu Forum of Britain, and many others. Now, her engagement with community has spanned over 43 years. So someone whose experience is completely unmatched to many. And she utilizes her skills in professional career to participate continuously in a lot of volunteer work. So you'll very often see her doing a lot of voluntary work. Now, I'll just take a little bit more time and I'll quickly list out her achievements. First Asian woman to be invited to co-author Chapter 1 of the Highways legislation of England and Wales. Manual of the Highway Design and Management, May 2010, and then Interfaith Network UK and Faith Forum UK. First woman to be elected as then Hindu Unity Representative in May 2019, Director between 2014 and 2016. She was also on the panel for the Home Office for Security of Faith Buildings since 2015. Regular participant on the BBC and various TV channels and radio programs. Chartered Institution of Highways and Transportations since 2001, and I believe that's still ongoing. And on from her position as the first woman civil engineer of Asian origin in the UK, she became the first woman chairperson of the Northwest branch between 2007 and 2008. So without taking too much more, I mean, I could go on about her, but I'll have to hand it over at some point. So without taking much more time, Trupti, thank you very much. And we look forward to hearing from you today.
Trupti, you are muted, sorry. Trupti, we cannot hear you.
Right. Thank you very much. Can you hear me now? Yep. Just Sarvene Jai Sri Krishna. I'll start with the chapter 9, slok 17, and it says, Pita Mahasya Jagato, Mata Dhata Pitamaha, Vaidyam Pavitram Omkaram, Rukasama Yajure. Well, what does it say? I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. So we must all chant Om all the time. And I'm also the Rig Ved, the Samved, the Yajurved, and just notice it's not mentioned Atharvaved in there. So why we all must have Bhagavad Gita with us all the time? Why should we buy Bhagavad Gita? To give presents all the time. To whenever you decide about giving gifts, please do that. Please buy Bhagavad Gita. Whoever is your favorite author, this is the one that I have, one of the Gitas I have. So today, when Nimit asked me, said, what can be more appropriate to talk in 21st century? We have in ancient temples, across Bharat, we have in ancient temples records. And I'll just read out one of the records. It says that after 3,735 year of Mahabharat war, and in the year of 556 Shaka era. Yeah, we have a Vikram Samvat, we have a Shaka era, and every 2,800 years, our calendar changes, the solar calendar changes. So when you consider all these things, it says, it's an inscription in one of the temple in Karnataka, and there is a little inscription, similar one, with the days in one of the temple in Karnataka, in Kerala. The Dwarkadish temple has got a record as well. And what does it mean? That the war, the Kali Yuga started in 3101, or it's just the time where the war of Mahabharat was. And soon after, we all know that Kali Yuga started. So those people who tell us that this is your mythology, please, I request all of you, do not use the word mythology for any of our stories, because one day you will also understand the stories of Shankar Bhagwan, the story of Gangaji coming down the earth. You will understand when so many million years ago, when the continent of Bharat collided with what is the northern, what is the Russia now, and what happened then. Everything in our Vedas, whatever Bhagwan watch, if you study in detail all the shloks, there is a life science in there. These days is quite fashionable to say that let's talk about life cycle events. Yeah, what do we call life cycle events? The life cycle event starts with the Atma looking for a body to enter into, to reside, to come on this earth. Some Atma who can actually decide, choose where they want to be born, like Srila Prabhupada ji or Swami Vivekananda ji, and some Atma have no choice where they go. So when we look at all the chapters of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, you get so much knowledge into all different life cycle events. Now, when we look at the Mahabharat war and why that happened, why was Srimad Bhagavad Gita recited in the middle of the warring cousins? So the shlok from chapter 2, shlok 31, is the one I decided to just touch upon. And it is more to the community level rather than to the spiritual level. Because like I've been going to schools for a long time in teaching the Hinduism and teaching dance through the shloks, through children, mainly white schools when I lived in Oldham for over 20 years. So we simplify things for children. And I used to use a phrase for stop bullying. And this is what I used to use, a few shloks from the Bhagavad Gita, and teach children to stand up for themselves and stop bullying. It applies to us as well. And the one that I would like to say is the Sarva Dharmam Pichashesva Navikam Pitu Maharshi Dharmadi Yudh Yonate Kshatriyasya Na Vichante. So what this means? Means besides considering your duty as a warrior. Now, warrior here does not mean the people who are Kshatriya, or in the recent times, what we've been labeled into various Kshatriya and Brahmin and all the different labels of caste and all the different labels of Jati and Gnati and all that. In Sri Krishna's time, the labels were the people who did the right wars, the righteous war, people who stood up for their rights. They were the Kshatriyas. People who give the Gnan, people who ran the Gurukuls were the Brahmins, and people who did all the businesses and everything were Vaishya, and the people who did the Samaj cleaning and all the other things were considered the Kshudra in that time. But then we know story about Valmiki Rishi, and we know many stories, and the whole base of Mahabharata is based on Satyavati. Satyavati was, who was she? A fisherman's daughter. And who did she marry? Who was she? A grandmother of the Kauravas and Pandavas. So you imagine who's telling us all this nonsense, isn't it? We need to understand that in our ancient text, there was no such thing as this person is that and this person is that, and we don't want to intermingle or intertalk or intermarry. So coming back to this shlok, And what does it teach us in the 21st century? I'm absolutely clear that in 21st century, we have digital wars. We have fake narratives. We have fake news. We have people trying to pull down others. Yeah. And our dharma, the way it's been projected, we've been told that we've been slaves for 1,000 years. Totally wrong. We had, if Jhansi Ki Rani was in 1785, yeah, 1780, then why, how were we slaves? There were kingdoms, there were Maratha kingdoms, there were Chola kingdoms, there were lots of kingdoms across those 1,000 years. Yes, there is a sort of like the system that people took advantage, the invaders and the British Raj. But we must not forget that our dharma teaches not to harm anyone. Krishna Bhagavan says very clearly that dharma is not to harm someone, but dharma is to stand for your rights. So if we are running a campaign of going out in front of the Indian High Commission or Bangladeshi High Commission and stand up for the rights of the Hindus and the Dharmic people, Jains, Sikhs, and Christian as well, probably in our neighboring countries, then it is dharmic. Yeah, we are not actually doing anything wrong. We are, like Bhagavan said to Arjun, take your shastra. Our shastra at the moment is what we are doing in terms of all the performing arts, all the media, and all the digital wars. And we want all of you and all the youngsters and people who are listening to me on the Facebook and everywhere else, we do not harm anyone. We do not put derogatory remarks and comments about other faiths and other people. They are in their place, but we would not tolerate if people do that to us. We must stand up and fight for our rights. And thank you very much, Nimit. Thank you very much for the Soham Foundation, Mayaji, Dushanji, for organizing this wonderful program. And I think we should work a lot more in getting more youngsters in make them understand the whole of the scientific nature of our, not just scriptures, but all our way of life, because we are working separately on the Eco Diwali and whole of the environmental and the climate deficiencies. And our dharma can teach the whole world about how we can be most environmentally friendly and teach everyone our eco living. Sarvene, Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Truptaji. That was absolutely amazing. I think dharma with a lot of progressive thoughts. I mean, we progress with times. That's one great thing about Hinduism is we keep to our traditions, but we also progress at the same time. Really fantastic. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Ramesh Patni, OBE. He's a psychologist and a Hindu theologian whose research is in the intersection of traditions. He has a deep interest in presenting psychological concepts, tools, and techniques of the ancient traditions in today's world. So he obtained a doctorate from the University of Oxford. He's a faculty of theology and religion. Based his research into Patanjali's text on classical yoga, the Yoga Sutra, and the Western positive psychology, comparing the phenomenology of the flow and altered states of consciousness experience and his experienced meditation of samadhi. Now, he's considered an authority in yoga psychology based on the ancient text of Patanjali. Just to let a little bit more about him, he has 3 master's degrees in psychology of religion, and study of religion. So extremely well educated in religion. He tutors currently at the University of Oxford at both the Oxford Center for Hindu Studies and is registered as a tutor with the Faculty of Theology and Religion. Public talks on Hinduism, and he holds regular weekly classes through the Chinmaya Mission in the UK on Hindu scriptures, including the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, and the text and commentaries by Swami Chinmayananda. He has extensively lectured and conducted workshops and retreats on diverse subjects over the past 2 decades in yoga and the non-dual Advaita Vedanta traditions, including self-development and meditation retreats. He holds and has held many public positions, including the trustee and vice president of Chinmaya Mission UK, vice president of Hindu Forum of Britain, trustee of Dawn Counseling Services, trustee of Hindu Education Board UK, founder and former co-chair of the Hindu Christian Forum, former trustee of Interfaith Network, and continues to serve the wider community in the UK and abroad. He has been recently appointed as assistant professor of psychology at the Chinmaya University in India, and will be teaching courses to undergraduates and postgraduates there. So for his volunteer work in interfaith relations and community service in the UK, he has been bestowed an OBE in the New Year's Honours 2020 by Her Majesty the Queen. So we are absolutely delighted to have him here today. Dr. Ramesh, please, the stage is all yours.
Thank you, Dushant. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this fantastic occasion. Gita is very much at my at the center of my life, in a sense that my life kind of revolves around the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. And as much as possible, of course, it is a question of bringing the Gita into one's life. And there's a very interesting story about Swami Chinmayanand, my guru. A devotee went to him and he says, look, I've read the Gita so many times. I've been through the Gita, 10, 15 times, and I've gone from shloka number 1 right to shloka number 700. And I read it again and again and again. But it doesn't seem to do anything. I'm still the same person I was when I started reading the Bhagavad Gita. So Swami Chinmayanand asked him, you've been through the Gita so many times, but how many times has the Gita gone through you? This is the whole point, is that we can keep on reading the Gita, contemplating on the Gita, and start thinking about, this, that, and the other. But really speaking, how much are we living through the Gita? And I've done a series of talks on living through the Gita, explaining exactly what is the kind of psychological connection to spirituality? What is it that we have to do with our mind? What do we have to do with the mind and our transactions in the outside world? And the Bhagavad Gita and its philosophy and practice is so coherent and so cohesive in terms of the life it is going to change for us. It's the most wonderful teaching one can have ever in one's life. That's why we call it a manual of life and living. It's a manual because if you buy a machine, you'll get a manual. And to operate the machine, you will know where to press the button, what to adjust, and how to make it work. In fact, for a human being, comes into the world without a manual. But here's the manual. Bhagavad Gita is your manual to learn how to live your life. And you know that we are born in this human form, in this human condition, and we experience so many things in our life. And what Bhagavan says is that the way in which, for example, Arjuna experiences his crisis in the middle of the battlefield. And Arjuna is a representative of our own humanity, in the sense that Arjuna represents you and me. We are in the same situation as Arjuna is in the middle of the battlefield, struggling with an existential crisis in his life. What am I to do? This is the question he is asking Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Confronted by my kith and kin, my teachers, my elders, and I don't want to kill them. And he gives them 6 arguments why he is not going to fight. Bhagavan says, okay, I've heard what you said, but I'm going to reframe your whole experience in a different dimension, taking the whole spiritual framework to make you understand what you are experiencing here right now in the middle of the battlefield. And with that reframing, I'm going to give you a pathway towards the ultimate destination, which is the truth about yourself. You are actually mistaking yourself to be this body, this mind, this individuality, but in truth, you are the Atman, you are Brahman, and you have forgotten that. And I'm going to show you a way. I'm going to show you the pathway, a practical pathway where you can attain this highest perfection in your own life. And Bhagavad Gita, it's wonderfully kind of put in such a way that it's very clear right from the very beginning what Bhagwan is teaching us in terms of a step-by-step process, which consists of 2 stages, right from the beginning, right up to the end. The first stage is inner transformation. And this inner transformation takes place through Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, which means that I look at each and every of my action in the world, my transactions in the world, and with a reframing of my mind and my attitude and my belief, when I do those actions, it begins to purify me of my ego identity, my selfish desires. It makes me more and more selfless and more attuned to the divine. That's the first stage. The second stage is having purified the mind, having sattvified the mind, so that my mind becomes clear like a jewel, so much so that I can begin to understand anything instantly. This is the psychological perfection which one can achieve by living through the Bhagavad Gita. And when you have achieved this purification of the mind, this mind becomes such a wonderful instrument. It can focus. It can be picking up things so quickly. It becomes highly intuitive. And with that kind of mind, which is single-pointed and still, it is able to transcend into the ultimate reality, which is really our true nature. And each step of this process, like we start with Karma Yoga, and Bhagwan gives a 5-point plan, a practical 5-point plan in chapter number 3, verse number 30. He says, dedicate all your actions to me. Stay centered in the self. Forget about the past. Forget about the future. Stay centered in the moment. And when you do anything in that attitude and with that mind, you will be attaining perfection in your actions. And when that devotion to God comes through Bhakti Yoga, together with the Karma Yoga, you become such a wonderful person in life to everybody else, because it gives you the power, and the divine is with you in each and every action you are doing. And this is step-by-step process to arrive at this inner transformation, which brings about purity of mind, purity of thought, purity of speech, purity of action. And when we have attained this kind of purity, we are now ready to transcend into the ultimate truth, not for the benefit of ourselves. Self-realization is, of course, going to be the realization of who I truly am. But really, what Bhagwan says, and giving the example of King Janak, who was a realized master, but he was ruling a whole kingdom. This is the lesson he's telling us, that realization is not the end, but the very beginning of you serving humanity in the best way possible, so that you not only benefit yourself in terms of attaining the highest truth, but you're going to benefit everybody around you. In fact, the masters will transform all those people who come into contact with them. The master will bring joy and happiness to all those around them. And the master will hold their hand and take them to the highest knowledge himself. This is the wonder of the Bhagavad Gita. This is the truth about the Bhagavad Gita. And if you want to really transform your life and attain the highest truth, then there is no other scripture on this planet which is going to be able to do that, except for the Holy Gita, the Bhagavad Gita, as taught by Bhagwan Sri Krishna to Arjuna who is not nobody but you and me. We are Arjuna. If we listen to the message of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan has promised us equanimity of the mind, dexterity in action, realization of the self. These are the three promises he makes to us in the Bhagavad Gita, and each one of us is capable of attaining that. Hari Om. Namaste.
Thank you very much. It was absolutely amazing. Pretty much, like you mentioned, it's a tool to transform ourselves on the lines of Bhagavad Gita. Next is a very important and a very on a very serious topic about Hindutva terror, the great falsehood of our times. And I'd like to invite Mr. Jay Singh to come and speak about it. Just to give a brief introduction about Mr. Singh, he's a chairperson of Hinduism Worldwide, a senior lawyer specializing in mergers and acquisitions at the Alston Asquith Solicitors in London. He is a recipient of the Rajiv Gandhi Chevening Trust Scholarship for Cambridge University. He has a BA Honours in History from the prestigious St. Stephen's College, Delhi University. He is the holder of the highest, he has held the highest score in the ISC board examinations nationwide in India. So phenomenal achievement. Schooling, he's been at the Doon School in Dehradun, very famous school in India, and the youngest recipient of the Scholars Blazer. And most importantly, he's a lifelong Shiv Bhakt. So thank you very much, Mr. Singh. I'll let you on the stage and take it from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dushyant. Thank you so much. Nimit ji, Prashant ji, and Maya ji, of course. I know her as Sonia. Thank you so much for having me, inviting me on this amazing platform that Soham Foundation has started. And I'm very grateful just to be here, sharing space with such luminaries and intellectuals in the field of Hinduism and the Gita. So, of course, my topic is a little different. It's not on the Gita per se or the teachings of Gita, but definitely on a concept which is very, very much at the core of the Gita as well, which is how we protect our dharma. And one of the speakers just earlier spoke on that. And you know, we don't believe in offense, but we certainly believe in defense. And the motto of the organization I'm chairing here in the UK, which is Hinduism Worldwide Inc., is Dharmo Rakshati Rakshita. Means those who protect dharma are in turn afforded protection, you know, by dharma itself. So that's our slogan, our motto of our organization. It's a charitable organization here in the UK. Maya ji is part of that as well, and also a director on our board. You know, we participate. Our goal basically is working for various causes in the field of Hinduism and Hindutva. So essentially educating people, disabusing people of wrong notions. Here in the West, you know, that's important. I think we need to be at the forefront of dispelling some of the wrong notions, some of the misguided notions spread by leftist liberals, pseudo-intellectuals these days. People like Sashi Tharoor, you know, Salman Khurshid, etc. I don't mind naming names. I like controversy, so I have no issues with that. So anyway, so my topic is Hindutva terror. And just before that, I just wanted to mention just recently we did participate along with Sonia ji. Sonia, I say Sonia, you know her as Maya. Maya ji was at the forefront of that, and we were participating in the protests at Bangladesh Embassy. We also recently spearheaded the International Bindi Day campaign. So we are really, really gunning to make this a big campaign for 2022. So 2021 was the first year of the campaign. Anyway, so just on to my topic. I just wanted to speak on a few angles on this aspect. It's a very important topic, I think, because especially for the youth, and you know, people in the West are getting swayed by conferences and wrong sort of discourses, misguided notions on what's the true essence of Hinduism. And the true essence of Hinduism is encapsulated by the term Hindutva. It's nothing more than that. It's just been given a wrong spin by spin doctors, people like Karur. And the recent dismantling Hindutva conference, some of you must be aware. They have even logged on to see what they're talking about. In September, it happened, I think, in the US. And some of our members in our organization actually actively went ahead and posed questions and actually did offer some form of resistance to that. Of course, it's very difficult when you're well funded. So Hindutva terror, saffron extremism, these days it's become very glib, very fashionable for people to talk about that. So-called liberal intellectuals, to decry Hinduism in this manner. I mean, these days it's typified by saying, Hinduism is becoming, it's acquiring fascist, neo-Nazi terms. It's very fashionable to just loosely use terms like that. But essentially, what is Hinduism? And if you think of Hindutva, Hindutva is the essence of Hinduism. And I'm a lawyer, and I would like to quote the Supreme Court of India, which not once, on many occasions, has tried to crystallize the concept of Hindutva, because it's come up in a number of cases and landmark judgments in the past 40 years. One of them recently, in fact, clarified the concept of Hindutva, saying Hindutva means the Indian culture and not merely the Hindu religion. This was the Supreme Court in 1995. In 1996, they said, clarified that the term Hindutva is not necessarily to be understood and construed narrowly, confined only to strict Hindu religious practices, unrelated to the culture and ethos of the people of India. So, no judgment. I can go on. There are a number of judgments that I don't want to take up too much time. One other one I just want to mention here, very, very particular to the issue that we're discussing is the Supreme Court said the misuse of these expressions to promote communalism cannot alter the true meaning of these terms. It's talking about Hindutva in particular. The mischief resulting from the misuse of terms by anyone in speeches has to be checked and is not permissible use. So this is a very exalted, very respected organization, body of learned people. I mean, no one's more intellectually exalted than a lordship of the Supreme Court. We have to admit, they're certainly more intellectual than some of these intellectuals who call themselves intellectuals. And even if you don't respect the Supreme Court, you have to give credence to the fact that it's become fashionable now to bash people who, and this renaissance of Hinduism that has begun under Modi ji's leadership. And there's no doubt, as another commentator on Hinduism, a very, very, I really respect him, Dr. Anand Ranganathan. He's a fellow Cambridge University alumnus. So I'm really, I follow him quite a lot, and some of you must have seen him on TV. Recently he's really good at putting people in the place, and he's a true example of a true intellectual. And we need more people like him, to talk about Hinduism and to dispel these wrong notions. So he was saying recently, and I'll just paraphrase: Hindutva is not a supremacist; it's rather a defensive force. Just what we were talking about, defensive in defense of Dharma, to counter an attack on Hinduism. The Islamists, Darbaris, as well as he calls them Chauthi fail leftist chums, never tire of drawing false equivalence of Hindutva with Taliban, and claiming there is nothing wrong with Islam or Hinduism, but everything wrong with Taliban and Hindutva. So basically, what he's saying is this is merely to cushion fundamentalism in another religion, and basically equate that equate and then deride something which is essentially non-offensive. Hindutva is not offensive. Yes, in the wrong hands, anything. I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't people who are who are, bringing a bad name. But that's very much the minority. You can't draw any sort of parallel out of that. So after all, the Taliban only following Islamic fundamentals, are they not? So when they're following the Sharia or the word of Allah on how a woman should dress, so how should a wife behave, when not can a woman be flogged? So is it Hindutva that calls non-believers the worst of creatures? Is it Hindutva that forbids marrying them, or is it we who recommend conditional wife beating, or is it the proponents of Hindutva that blew up the Bamyan Buddhas, or are responsible for 31,200 major terror attacks in the last 20 years? Surely it's a Hindutva proponents are doing all this. Come on, let's we should dismantle Hindutva. Just because you're embarrassed by the misogyny, bigotry, and violence abandoned by some other sect, you bring a false equivalence to deride Hindutva. Why? Is it just because it's fashionable? It's become really cool for Swara Bhaskar and all these people to tweet nonsense every day, spewing nonsense every day. And people like us, we're sitting and we're just being passive. How long can we just be passive? It's time to take action. There's Sadhguru said, they've been talking about dismantling Hindutva for nearly 1,000 years. We're still here, aren't we? We need to strengthen this. I think where we are going wrong is, there's nothing embarrassing, that there's no shame in being a proud Hindu, and we should be proudly, and we should not be shy just because there are conferences going around the world calling us extremists. We're not extremists. We're proud Hindus. We've been around for 14,000 years. There's this. We should strengthen it, and yes, we should look at the bad aspects. We should look at discrimination. I'm not saying there aren't problems. There are. We should break down the barriers that exist within Hinduism. Look at our villages and towns and where these wrong practices are there, and we should remove those. This by no means not looking at not looking at or not criticizing our own. It's just that when we are being attacked, constantly attacked, then it's time to stand up, take a stand. And I'm sick and tired of being a passive Hindu. I'm really, really sick and tired. That's why I formed this organization. And together, we are going to make a difference. The world is becoming more and more Hindu. As it becomes more and more rational, more and more logical, anything that is illogical is being jettisoned. Look at how the youth in Italy, France, and so many other countries here in the UK are disaffected with the church. You see, Sunday Mass is empty. Why? Because they say, you do this, do that, I'll take you to heaven, etc. Because it's not working for people anymore. I'm not dissing any religion. I'm just basically saying that this is not working. It's not working. And when these so-called Kitabiya religions mock us, mock Hindus, I'm defending Hinduism. I'm dissing, so maybe it's dissing, and I'm not scared of anyone. Enough of us are scared, and this is why we've been taken advantage of. Hinduism is the only culture that has looked at the human mechanism and its relationship with the cosmos in a profound, deep, and logical way. I find other religions just shallow. They can't even touch like one microcosm of the depth of our scriptures. And if only we Hindus, the young, the well-established, the old, we have to present it well to the world. The whole world will want to become Hindu soon. It's the only thing that appeals to an evolved intellect. And with that, I don't want to take any more of your time. I'm sorry if I've offended anyone, but that's who I want to be these days. I'm tired of being disrespected, and I'm now finding more and more people are thinking and talking like me. Thank you. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. It was an absolutely amazing insight into Hindutva as it's being translated or sort of portrayed by some of the intellectuals or these liberals, as you mentioned. Also, when it becomes a bit of a concern when it goes outside the religious circles and academics, as you must be aware, in American universities and things, start holding conferences to sort of portray a religion, a peaceful religion, as a violent, as someone who's disturbing the peace, as not being inclusive. So it is phenomenal. I mean, to have someone like you who's so well educated, so well connected, to defend the religion at a time when it's needed most. So absolutely,
Thank you so much.
absolutely amazed by your efforts, and may you carry on this work.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so
hopefully we get you more and more support, and we have you again in our next discourses.
Thank you. We'll work
Thank you
closely
very much.
together. Soham Foundation and EWI will look forward to working closely. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So next, I'd like to invite Mr. Sushil Rapatwar. His topic is going to be Gita, a global blueprint. Just to let you know a little bit about Sushil, he's an engineer, but also with an MBA qualification to back him. And he's a project programmer manager by profession. He has always believed in sort of giving back to society, which was evident from his voluntary service at the Maharashtra Mandal in the UK between 2007 and 2019. Then from then onwards, he's been contributing to the community through various other ways, such as getting involved in the Indian diaspora, British politics, a Marathi radio jockey, and even through sports. He has represented England as an umpire referee in international badminton tournaments. So he strongly believes in making a difference, as you live once and only once, and you have to make that count. So Sushil, welcome, a fellow Mumbaiite, just like myself. I really look forward to hearing from you. Welcome.
Namo Namah, Sarvebhyam Namo Namaha. Firstly, a massive thanks to Soham Foundation, Nimitji, and all the organizers. It takes a lot of effort to organize such a monumental task. And Gita, as we know, my topic is, it's a global blueprint, and I would like to kind of expand as to why that is a global blueprint for real peace, right? P-E-A-C-E, not the other peace, right? So prior to that, I'm representing Sanskriti Center for Cultural Excellence, and this Cultural Excellence Institute promotes the heritage and culture of India, highlighting the linguistic and arts diversity, and has engaged with different diaspora groups, researching and presenting folk and tribal dance forms of India. Some of them are very less seen in the UK and Europe. Besides training in Bharatnatyam and conducting workshops online and face-to-face in different other dance forms for public consumption. And we continue to contribute to cultural diplomacy, which is also a strong arm as far as diplomatic discussions are concerned. So let me get started with my talk. So Gita for me is an acronym. It stands for Get Inspired to Act. This is the message that one gets by reading Gita. Let me know if that is incorrect. To be very brief, precise, and to the point, this is the bottom line of Gita. It is a blueprint of life that transcends time, geographies, and belief systems. Every shloka of this marvel is a guiding principle for anyone going through any self-doubt, self-deprecation, self-pity, mental problems, feeling low in life, depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorders, family issues, employment issues, you name it, and you will get the solution for it in these 18 chapters and 700 verses. It is timeless. Imagine that the instructions in this book were delivered 5,000 years ago, but still each word is relevant even today, and I am sure that this will be true even 200 years hence. Of course, when I say this, I mean you will have to change the literal context and view the messages in a much broader sense. So when the Kauravas are mentioned, you replace them with your enemies, such as anger, greed, jealousy, and the whole lot. So when dharma is referred to, it does not mean religion at all. Far from it. Dharma means a human being's basic instinct of doing good and being good. Doing the right thing at the right time. Now, you may ask what that right thing is. Who decides whether it is right or wrong? And that is what Gita teaches us. It is not prescriptive at all, that you have got to do this at this time by facing this direction and so on and so forth, right? In fact, it gives you principles and guidelines, and then trusts in you and in your basic godliness. And that is why I think it is timeless, whose teachings will remain true forever. And for any philosophical text or a report or a speech, I always look out for the key takeaways. That means what is the bottom line, guys, right? So I apply my own acid test to these things. And that acid test for me is summarized in these two words. So what? Right? One may recite big shlokas and big philosophies, which may make me feel good or probably make you feel good. But if it does not give me anything to work within my day-to-day life, then it is just a woolly, warm, feel-good words that get forgotten the next moment. I do not believe in that. Hence, if I apply my acid test of so what to Gita, I would like to answer it this way. It was about Arjuna being overwhelmed by how his own siblings, relatives and teachers were against him. Lord Krishna then told him that we have to do something when something is adharmic or not right. And remember, doing nothing is never an option or never a good option. And you may have heard this saying that bad things happen on earth not because of the bad people, but because of the good people not doing anything. Now let me take a very simple example to illustrate this point. Now let us say the council in which you live is not doing its work despite paying so much council tax nowadays, almost £2,000 a year. Now if it fails to provide you the fundamental dignity of cleanliness and safety under the pretext of not having enough funds, etc., then this is a classic example of adharma happening to you. This is where you can implement the teaching of Gita. As I mentioned earlier, if you view these various shlokas in the relevant context, you immediately know that you are the Arjuna and Lord Krishna is talking to you. You may know that Gandiv is the name of a very famous bow that Arjuna used. His archery skills using this Gandiv were exemplary. So when Lord Krishna says, pick up that Gandiv, Arjuna, pick up that Gandiv, what will that Gandiv mean in our example of this council? It is a pen. Yes, pen. Pick up that pen, pick up. You have got the power today to express your dissatisfaction. Sitting quietly and resigning to the adharma is not an option. Instead, complain. Voice out your anyay, injustice that is being done to you. Today we have got social media. Put it on social media. Get other people together who are going through the same atrocities and adharmic practices. Once it becomes a considerable common voice, then the council will have to take cognizance and change its policies and do the right thing. Now I know I have simplified it a bit over there, but that is the acid test for me. So what? What does it offer to me here and now? Similarly, there may be many other such examples and situations and problems within our lives, whether physical or metaphysical, whether literal or spiritual. Simply apply the principles in the Gita and you will have your answer. No need to pay these expensive psychiatrists. Just get a free downloadable copy of Gita today and get fit. dispel all the problems you have in your life, and attain that glorious, beautiful, shining self that you all are, that we all are. This is the global blueprint for real peace that is all the more relevant in today's times. Let's do this. Get inspired to act through Gita. Namaste.
Thank you very much, Sushil. That was quite insightful and very powerful, I must say. That's lovely words coming from you and amazing. Thank you very much. We're well within the time. Next, I'd like to invite Vandana Jingen. She is the Hindu American journalist for Midwest Bureau Chief TV Asia, US correspondent for Hindi Khabar, activist, deputy treasurer, Cook County, Illinois, village of Schaumburg, and the commissioner, Health Board and Sister City Commission, media and PR coordinator for the Vishwa Hindu Parishad of America, core team member of SV'150 and the Second World Hindu Congress 2018, and North America coordinator. She's also the Gita speaker at the International Gita Mahotsav'. She has been since 2010 at the Kurukshetra. Vandana ji, welcome. Thank you for giving us your important time today, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Namaskar. Soham. Filling the bridge. This time I could not be there in person due to Chinese virus called COVID-19. And you filled the gap. Thank you, Sonia, for connecting the dots and bringing me on this platform. When we talk about Gita, the subject of today, I'm just going to give a little bit diversion to it because I'm not a person who can just read and speak. And I'm going to say a speaker before me, Jay, why did you apologize? You should not be sorry. Your message itself said that what I want to say, I must say. So in today's time, it is very, very important for us. We are talking about Gita, which was conceived in the Eastern world and practiced more in the Western world. I don't read Gita every day, but I practice Gita every moment of my life. This is the message that everybody, when we talk about karmanyevadhikaraste, ma phaleshu kadacha, because karma is the thing. When I moved to this Western world, I just want to share, everybody from Bharat used to feel since you are there, so you will be portraying. I said, no, even on the name itself, why don't you keep it as a Vandy? I said, I'm not going to have it Vandy. If I can speak Jack, Jeff, Peter, I will make them speak Vandana. And first thing I tell them, my name means prayer. You will not believe it. Our ex-president Obama, since he's been from Chicago, and I'm from that windy city, Chicago, where Swami Vivekananda came and said, I am addressing you from the mother of all religion. So now I say parent of all religion. And you all know that what happened at that very time. So you should be trust thyself. We should be speaking out who we are. People take you. But the narratives which has been set over a period of time, 800 plus 200 plus the 65 plus years, we have to counter that. Who's going to do that? Maya going to do that. Dushant is going to do that. I'm going to do that, our future generation. Because if we don't do it now, then who will? We can very well imagine. I have been to Kurukshetra, I think, more than 35 times. We still feel that there. That banyan tree over there. If somebody has not been, I urge each and every one of you, I plead, do go that, and you will feel it, that what happened and during at that very time. We are forever, grateful to the Vyasaji and other sages who captured that wisdom, the epochal event, and its contest in Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata. In my opinion, it is nothing short of a celestial gift to humanity. In Gita, 18 adhyayas, you don't even get anywhere the word Hindu. This is the beauty of our granthas, but we practice it. Gita has been echoing across the boundaries of space and time ever since. When we talk about today, we all have smartphones, gadgets, and stuff like that. But when you pick up Gita, my mother gave me a Gita. This is called a Machis Gita. Wherever I am, wherever I go, I don't even know how many have been distributed. I always carry that with me. The meaning of Gita, we have to live Gita. Padho Gita, padhao Gita, ghar ghar mein pahunchao Gita. We took a pledge and we worked on a project. We live in a Western world, so we do have a lot of people, those who are from Patel origin, Gujaratis, those who own hotel and motels. So in collaboration with ISKCON, Prabhupadaji's organization, and then AHOA, we said, why not to keep Gita also in the bedside when we go to a hotel room? Because 50 to 60% motels are being owned by our Gujarati community. And that was a very successful project. Very successful project. You just pick up, grab whatever you want to read, just take one meaning out of it and start analyzing it. Then the next project I worked, we here in Chicago itself are almost 1 million people of Indian origin. How many? We are 1+ billion Hindus around the world. Hospitals. When somebody is sick, they do have prayer rooms, but they do have Bibles there because we live in the Western world. I spoke to a lot of presidents. We interacted with them. We said, can we keep our holy books right there? Oh, yeah, sure. But we took an attempt to go there and speak out. And this is the message that what I'm trying to speak. It was so important when now you have smartphones, but I'm talking about 10 years ago, 15 years ago. But the person who's 60+ years in the hospital may not be able to have the app and read the Gita, get to the Gita app now, because so what? That came out very positive. And it is, community came out in support. Vandanaji, do you need some funds into this? I said, no, you just buy and give it to us and we can just distribute it. That was the effort which we took it. Then the project came, because in today's time, we are fighting on every moment. We are still in that defending mode. How much energy we are wasting. We should be talking about the progress of it. 3 days ago, I think we saw what happened with the Kashi corridor. People sitting in Bharatvarsha, they should be taking pride in it. We are not snatching anything. We are just getting what it belonged to us. So on a note, I just want to say, I heard the little kids, those who were chanting Gita. It is a pride for me. I may not be there. I'm being honest with you. Tomorrow, because we don't even know, life being so, it is very uncertain in today's time. But when we talk, Sonia ji, it is important for us to be confident about ourselves and speak out. We have never invaded anybody, and we are still fighting out. Yesterday itself, there is an organization, Council of Islamic Relation Care, it is called. Within half an hour, they can raise $5 to $10 million, which is nothing for them. I would urge, again, Dharam Kshetra. It is a time for people of origin, for all the Sanatanis, to make sure that you have to be as one of the elected officials. Start from your municipality, start from your council, start from the state, start from the country that you are in. But it is, don't be Hindus by name only. You will be respected if who you are. Our heritage is such a great pride for us. And I want my energies not to go in defending ourselves, but to set our own narratives. Dhanyavad. Thank you very much. It was very emotional moment for me. Hare Krishna to all.
Dhanyavad.
Vandanaji, that was very, very humbling, very, very powerful. And we could actually feel the words come from your heart. And it was really, really emotional. And we could actually feel the words come straight from your heart. That's all I can.
I want to say that from 2010, Tulsi Gabbard is a congresswoman. You will hear the name Tulsi, you think she's Indian. She's not Indian. Tulsi Gabbard is an American first Hindu congresswoman. Congresswoman is member of parliament like in India. I took her message and read that message of Bhagavad Gita on Gita Jayanti in 2010. She took the oath of her office on Bhagavad Gita. So this is like, it comes, and every time you see, but we do have our own Hindu congressmen, Hindu, Indian origin. But we don't get things out of them. I mean, it pains you. Dushyant, it is really very painful, the time that we are going through. But what answer I'm going to go and give it to the God? Because when it was happening, where were you? What were you doing? Did you do your dharma? So let's take a pledge. आज आपने किया है, मैं जिंदगी भर इस बात का उपकार नहीं, because we need to make it. Like the Bindi moment became very, I will get more speakers from the various different global part of it and make it, because at least COVID ने और कुछ नहीं दिया, कम से कम एक दूसरे को connect तो किया Zoom के वाया. Thank you.
Thank you, Vandana.
Thank you very much. Those absolutely powerful words, and we all will take a page out of it, I'm sure. And everybody, like you said, needs to do their own bit. Let's stop defending and let's start promoting the good things that Gita about Hinduism is all about. And this is what this conference is all about. The speakers, every single one of you have been very, very powerful, and the words, they will the resonance of your words will be around for a long time. So next one, I'd like to introduce Mr. Harendra Jodha, and his topic's about why I love Gita. Unfortunately, he's not on the conference today with us, but we have a recorded message which Nimiji will play in a bit. And just to let you know a little bit about Mr. Harendra Singh Jodha, he hails from Malta city of Rajasthan and is now settled in London. Now, the word Jodha in his name prompted us to go into a bit of roots and how it originated, where he's from. And it was very interesting to learn that Mr. Harendra Singh Jodha belongs to the Rajput family and is a descendant of Rao Jodha, who established the city of Jodhpur, a beautiful city and a very interesting person. So, Nimiji, please, could you play us his message for everyone to hear? Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
नमस्कार. गीता पर बोलने का जो आज सौभाग्य मिला है, ये शायद पता नहीं प्रारब्ध में कहाँ लिखा था, पर ये भी एक बहुत बड़ा सौभाग्य है. हर आदमी की जिंदगी में एक यात्रा शुरू होती है, और जब मैं ह्यूमन, जहां आज हम खड़े हैं, जिस स्थिति में हम आज हैं, मैं इसको आज 2, 5, 10, 20 साल की यात्रा नहीं देखता. मैं इसे देखता हूं 5 बिलियन ईयर्स की यात्रा. 5 बिलियन ईयर्स में से 3 बिलियन ईयर्स तो प्री बायोलॉजिकल इवोल्यूशन की वो यात्रा थी, और कम से कम 1 बिलियन ईयर लगा बायोलॉजिकल इवोल्यूशन का, और उसके बाद कम से कम 50,000 साल ह्यूमन इवोल्यूशन का कॉन्सेप्ट रहा, और पिछले 15,000 साल सिविलाइजेशन के इवोल्यूशन का कॉन्सेप्ट रहा. तो जो आज हम हैं वो पिछले 5 बिलियन ईयर्स की एक यात्रा है. ठीक वैसे ही जैसे मैं समुद्र मंथन के बारे में सोचता हूं, तो उसके अंदर देव और असुर दोनों में समझौता हुआ. उन्होंने सोचा कि हम समुद्र का मंथन करें. जब उन्होंने समुद्र का मंथन किया, उन्हें 6 दांतों वाला ऐरावत हाथी मिला, उन्हें कामधेनु मिली, उन्हें और अनेकों चीजें मिली, और उन्होंने आपस में उन्हें प्रेम से बांट लिया. जब वहां से हलाहल गरल या विष निकला, देव और असुर दोनों वहां से भाग निकले. फिर उस हलाहल और उस गरल को पीने के लिए फिर आए, वो थे भगवान शंकर, जिन्होंने उसे अपने कंठों में बसाया. इसीलिए भगवान शंकर को हम नीलकंठ कहते हैं. पर ठीक वैसे ही इन 5 बिलियन ईयर्स में ह्यूमंस ने, हम लोगों ने सिविलाइजेशन में बहुत ज्यादा डेवलप किया है। साइंस ने इतनी जबरदस्त उन्नति की है इन सालों में कि हम उनके पॉजिटिव चीजों को हम उस समुद्र मंथन की तरह लेते जा रहे हैं, लेकिन उससे एक हलाहल और गरल भी उत्पन्न हो रहा है। उससे लेने के लिए कौन तैयार है? कौन सी ऐसी फिलॉसफी है, कौन सी ऐसी स्पिरिचुअलिटी है जो उस गरल को अपने अंदर थाम सकती है, जो खुद का, लोगों का और संसार का और सृष्टि के विनाश को रोक सकती है? उसमें कई सारी चीजें हैं। खैर, उसी पर हम आज विचार करेंगे। पर उन सब तारों के बीच में जो वीनस की तरह, जो बहुत तेजी से चमकता हुआ एक तारा है, जो बाकी सारे तारों की तरह ही है, बट वो तेजी से चमकता दिखता है क्योंकि हमारे बहुत पास में है, और उसका नाम है श्री भगवद गीता। और श्री भगवद गीता क्यों विशेष है, क्यों महत्वपूर्ण है? मुझे जो 3-4 बड़े-बड़े कारण नजर आते हैं, उनमें से पहला कारण है, जो बहुत जबरदस्त कारण है, वो ये कि भगवद गीता किसी शांत जगह पर, उपनिषद जहां शांत प्रदेशों में या शांत वनों में, गुफाओं में बैठकर लिखे गए, श्री भागवत ऐसे नहीं लिखी गई। भगवद गीता लिखी गई है, वो बहुत जबरदस्त जगह पर लिखी गई, और वो है युद्ध और संघर्ष और झंझावतों के बीच में, जहां कौरव और पांडव दोनों की सेनाएं दोनों तरफ सज्जित थी, और जब अर्जुन किम कर्तव्य विमूढ़ था, तब अर्जुन के पास कोई ऐसा सवाल नहीं था, उन्हें लगा नहीं कि वो क्या कर सकता है, या जब वो कंफ्यूज कंडीशन में था, तब कृष्ण ने उन दोनों युद्ध की संभावनाओं के बीच में खड़े होकर अपना जो ज्ञान दिया, वो था भगवद गीता, और जो 700 श्लोकों में समाहित है। ये शायद दुनिया का बेहतरीन और सबसे अलग किस्म का ग्रंथ है, जो दो युद्ध के मैदान के बीच में रचा गया है। बाकी ग्रंथों में ऐसा नहीं है। दूसरी जो मुझे श्री भगवद गीता की जो विशेषता नजर आती है, वो है गुरु और शिष्य की परंपरा। जो सबसे विशाल बात है, उसमें ये कह सकते हैं कि श्री कृष्ण जब 11वें अध्याय के बाद श्री कृष्ण जी ने जब अपना विश्व रूप दिखाया, तो अर्जुन ने नतमस्तक होकर उनसे कहा कि मुझे आपका आशीर्वाद चाहिए। आप एक भक्त जैसे अपने भगवान से आशीर्वाद मांगता है, एक मित्र अपने दूसरे मित्र से आशीर्वाद मांगता है, एक प्रेमी अपने प्रेमिका से आशीर्वाद मांगता है, ठीक वैसे ही मुझे आपसे एक आशीर्वाद चाहिए। जो गुरु और शिष्य की जो एक संबंध है, जिसे नेक्स्ट लेवल में कहा जा सकता है, जो न सिर्फ हायरार्की में, बल्कि मित्र और मित्र, प्रेमी और प्रेमिका के रूप में भी एक ऐसा संबंध जो बिरला ही मिलता है, वो जो संवाद है, वो इस भगवद गीता में। तीसरा जो इसकी विशेष चीज मुझे लगी, वो ये, बाकी सारे ग्रंथों को ऋषियों ने लिखा, पुरुषों ने लिखा, स्त्रियों ने लिखा, ह्यूमंस ने लिखा, बृहदारण्य को लिखा, मुंडकोपनिषद को किसी और ने लिखा, अंगिरस ने लिखा, या अलग अलग जो ऋषि हैं उन्होंने लिखा। पर ये एक ऐसी किताब है, ये एक ऐसा ग्रंथ है जिसे स्वयं साक्षात ईश्वर ने लिखा, जिसे स्वयं साक्षात कृष्ण ने लिखा। जिसे कृष्ण ने खुद ने गीता में कहा कि एक जब अपना विराट स्वरूप उन्होंने अर्जुन को दिखाया, उसके बाद उन्होंने कहा कि मैं ही वासुदेव हूं, और जो सारी चीजें हैं वही वासुदेव है। सब जन्म मुझी से पाते हैं, सब लौट मुझी में आते हैं। उन्होंने कृष्ण को अपना विराट स्वरूप दिखाया, जो एक कह सकते हैं कि थर्ड जो स्पेशलिटी है वो है कि एक डिवाइन सोर्स से इसकी उत्पत्ति हुई, या डिवाइन ने खुद ने अपनी ज्ञान दिया, न कि किसी साधारण पुरुष ने या साधारण महिला ने इसे लिखा। चौथी चीज जो मुझे लगती है इसके अंदर, वो ये कि अलग अलग तरीके हैं जिन्हें हमने इंडिया में या भारत में हम लोगों ने उपयोग किया, उनमें से, या फिर दुनिया में लोगों ने उपयोग किया। एक है भक्ति योग। भक्ति योग के लिए भागवत है, ज्ञान योग उसके लिए और दूसरे सारे अनेकों शास्त्र हैं, उपनिषद हैं, वेद हैं। इनके अलावा राजयोग है, जिसके पतंजलि के सूत्र हैं जिनके पास। हमारे लोगों के पास ज्ञान योग है, भक्ति योग है, कर्म योग में कर्म कांड है उनके पास। भगवद गीता क्या है? भगवद गीता इन चारों का सम्मिलित मिश्रण है, जो इस कलयुग के लिए रामबाण है। और जिसे अरविंदो के शब्दों में कहूं तो वो पूर्ण योग है, जिसके अंदर ज्ञान योग, भक्ति योग, कर्म योग और ध्यान योग और राजयोग, ये सभी समाहित है। ये चौथी खूबसूरती है। नेक्स्ट बात जो मुझे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट लगी भगवद गीता के बारे में, जिसे मैं कह सकता हूं कि पिन्नेकल है, कि ईश्वर प्राप्त करने का सबके पास अपना एक साधन है। कृष्ण ने बेहद खूबसूरती से एज ए टीचर अपने अर्जुन से कहा, अपने शिष्य अर्जुन से कहा कि मैंने तुम्हें सारे अलग अलग तरह के रास्ते बतला दिए, अब तुम्हारी इच्छा है कि तुम कौन सा रास्ता आगे के लिए पसंद करते हो। इसलिए उन्होंने अंत में 18वें अध्याय में कृष्ण ने अर्जुन जी से कहा यत इच्छसी तत् कुरु, मतलब जो कुछ मेरे पास इंफॉर्मेशन थी, ज्ञान था, वो मैंने तुम्हें दे दिया, अब तुम्हारे पास चॉइस है कि तुम कौन सा रास्ता अपनाना चाहते हो। ये एक इन्फॉर्म्ड चॉइस है। जैसे उन्होंने अर्जुन के ऊपर अब फैसला नहीं थोपा, उन्होंने अर्जुन से कहा इन अलग अलग रास्तों में से तुम एक रास्ता अपना सकते हो। सो ये जो अलग अलग चीजें हैं, ये गीता को या भगवत गीता को महान बनाती है, और उसके अलग अलग कारण हैं। जब हम आज मैं कह रहा हूँ कि 5 बिलियन ईयर्स की इस यात्रा के बाद जब हम इस स्टेज पे खड़े हैं, तो वो कुरुक्षेत्र हमारे हृदय के अंदर है। अच्छे और बुरे के बीच में, पाप और पुण्य के बीच में, राइट और रॉन्ग के बीच में एक संघर्ष हमेशा है हमारे मन के भीतर। हम उस कुरुक्षेत्र को पहचाने, और जब हम उस कुरुक्षेत्र को पहचानते हैं और कुरुक्षेत्र के अंदर राइट डिसीजन लेते हैं, तो शायद वही श्री कृष्ण का विराट स्वरूप है। उसके अंदर नेक्स्ट एक और गीता के अंदर कर्म के ऊपर बड़ा जोर है, और स्पेशली कर्म के ऊपर एक ऐसा जोर है, जैसे कह सकते हैं कि लोगों से ये उम्मीद की जाती है कि आप अपने कर्म करें लेकिन फल की इच्छा ना करें। मतलब आप कर्म को एक बड़ी फॉर्म में, लार्जर इंटरेस्ट में देखें, जिससे आप अपनी जिंदगी को सुकून से जी सकते हैं और नई चीजों को आप उत्पन्न कर सकते हैं। उसके अंदर हम कई तरह के डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ एग्जाम्पल ले सकते हैं, पर उसी कर्म भावना से कई लोग, चाहे विवेकानंद हो, चाहे अलग अलग धर्मों के लोग हों, वो बहुत प्रभावित हैं। और क्या पंजाबी में कहते हैं कि तू करता करना में नाही, तुझ बिन दूजा अवरो करना ही, तू काहे डोले प्राणिया, तुझे राखेगा सिरजनहार। सो भगवत गीता में अनेकों चीजें ऐसी कही गई हैं जो अलग अलग फॉर्म्स में है, लेकिन कुछ 4-5 ऐसे पॉइंट्स हैं जो हर आदमी को इंडिविजुअली कहीं टच करते हैं। यदि मैं किताबों के बारे में बात करूं तो साधक संजीवनी जो स्वामी श्री राम सुखदास जी ने लिखी है, वो एक जबरदस्त उस पर टीका है, जिसको पढ़ने के लिए आदमी को बहुत सारा समय चाहिए, बहुत सारा रिसोर्स चाहिए और बहुत सारा फोकस चाहिए। वो उनका ज्ञान आलोकित कर सकता है। पर अंत में हर आदमी जब अपने आप से ये सवाल पूछता है कि मुझे क्या करना चाहिए या क्या मेरा कर्तव्य है, जब भी हम ये मन में अपने सवाल पूछते हैं, जब भी हम कहीं कंफ्यूज स्टेट में होते हैं, ये किताब या ये ग्रंथ हमें रास्ता देता है, रोशनी देता है, और आगे भी रोशनी देता रहेगा। ये यात्रा 5 बिलियन ईयर्स पे खत्म नहीं होगी, आगे भी इसका एवोल्यूशनरी प्रोसेस जारी रहेगा। हम नई चीजें, शायद हो सकता है संसार और नई चीजें जनरेट करें और उस आलोकित पथ पर हम सभी चलें, ऐसी मेरी शुभेच्छा है। आप सबको धन्यवाद। थैंक यू।
Okay.
Thank you. That is the end of our discourses section from our speakers. Nimitji, I'd like to hand it over to you for advancing this further into the next part of our Gita Mahotsav today.
Sure. Thank you, Dushyant. We still have a few more things. Well, not really, just the discussion is the ending of it, and a few more words from our trustees. By listening to all the great words from all the great speakers today, all I can collect is pretty much the abstract of Gita. Two, aspects of life: positive, negative, yin and yang, day and night, bhakti or karma. That's what Gita is about. And today what I heard is there is infinite knowledge that Gita gives you in form of bhakti. And then there is karma, which a lot of our speakers today was focusing about, that we have to do something. And in short, life is all about the balance, yin and yang, knowledge and action put together. So I think it was quite mesmerizing to hear different aspects and looking Gita and its concept from a different angle altogether. So I really appreciate the time, effort everyone have given today. And with that, I'd like to just give my word of thanks to everyone, starting from Krishna Ji's great bhajan, as he does always. Was fantastic. My thanks to Prabhuji from Live and Poonaji for helping us out in the recitement for the shlokas. That was amazingly done. I mean, kids was fantastic. And we hope that in future we continue to do more brilliant events around the chanting and the shlokas. With that, we are also working with Live to have more online sessions around Gita courses for kids and also for Sanskrit and Hindi, and that's what Live specializes in, by the way. I've sent an email address info@sohamfoundation.co.uk. Any questions, please do reach us out. Apsara ji was brilliant in her performance, as you've seen, so thank you for her. Now, my extended vote of thanks to Nabhinandan Das ji. Thank you for your time, Prabhuji. As appreciate, as always, you're fantastic the way you speak and the knowledge you share with us. Thank you for your time. Trapti ma'am.
Really good effort.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. It's all under your guidance, always, as also. Trapti ji, thank you very much for your kind guidance, advice, time today. Always appreciable. It's the guidance from you elders is what we need as young organization around, and really appreciate you taking time and supporting us on this. We had Dr. Ramesh Patni, who have to leave because of his call from Chinmay Mission. So I really we are very grateful for having him on call today. We had actually Krishna Pujara ji, who couldn't turn up because she was off sick. Now, just want to make an announcement. I just recovered from COVID, like literally my last day probably. Still, I'm positive. But Omicron, how is spreading across. So please be safe, take jab, don't get funny ideas about it. That's the only thing that can help you. It won't protect you to have it, and you're probably going to have it anyway. But what jab does, it actually boosts your immunity, and it helps you in suppressing the symptoms. So I had very mild symptoms, and I'm still isolating. I'll be seeing my bedroom from the back, but yeah, please be safe and take care. Then we had Jasing from Hindu Worldwide Corporation, amazing speaker, eye-opener, and I completely understand and agree the frustration he's going through, and a lot of other young fellows like us, we share the same level of frustration. I think, as I was just saying, the idea of having intellect and act together is what we need here. A well-driven strategy, which we execute, because strategy without execution is nothing. Right? There's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of people talking, but then less people doing. So that's where sort of we're trying to bridge the gap. Soham as a word itself means that I am universe. So I connect to my greater self is what Soham believes in. And, filling up these gaps, putting the action together with the knowledge and intellect is what we need. That, think and then act and then strategically execute and win. So thank you very much, Jeff, for your kind words. Then we had Sushil Rupatpar from Sanskriti. Sanskriti has been quite a long partner for us in terms of cultural events and organizations. Have been doing a lot of functions in past, and Raga Sudhaji is always very kind to help us out. And she's in India, I think, and Sushil ji kindly have joined on Sanskriti's behalf, and very, very good speech. Sushil, thank you very much for time. Sushil is also a candidate for councillor in his ward, and so please do promote, and I'm sure Praptiji will vouch on this, that we need more Hindu representation in the House of Lords up there. So please do support all the Hindus who are standing up. This is a fight, which is worth fighting for, really. So we need our voice. Thank you very much, Sushil, for your time today. And then we had Vandana Jinghamji today. So as Dushyant said, I mean, it was emotional, and I think we are in sync in that emotion. We all share that feeling across. It's just how do we think logically and articulate our emotions in the right way so we don't make fool about us. That's what we have to be careful about, and that's what we'll do. Because it's for sure that we're not going to be quiet. It's for sure, and especially a lot of young organizations like HWI, so they're coming up. It itself is saying that, enough is enough, and we're going to do something about it. So thank you very much. And your guidance and intellect will be needed. And, we look forward to do more collaborative work together in the future. And last but not the least, we had Harinder Jodhaji from Rajasthan Association UK. He's in India celebrating marriage, but he had quite good insight around Gita. This was sort of our panel. Any questions? We are happy to take the questions. But with that, I'd like to invite Sonia ji, or Maya ji, as is known to us, and she have a few words as a closure. So thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Maya ji.
Thank you, Nimit. I just want to say that, going back to what Tripti ji said right at the beginning about mythology. I think this is a really, really important point. And I personally go into my daughter's school during Diwali or Navratri or any Hindu festivals to talk and to give the real message, not the distorted message. And I always correct them, like I did recently when I did a pravachan over there about Diwali. I corrected them that please do not refer to it as mythology, because we don't refer to Jesus or Allah or anybody else as mythological stories. So I always correct them. So it's really important that we empower our children, or that if we can go into schools ourselves or re-educate, and we must ourselves take the initiative of going into schools and re-educating the children to make sure they get the right and correct of what we are. Also, it also empowers our children, because I find when I go in, it empowers my daughters to know who they are and give them identity. And as JG said, and Vandanaji, who I started this year and will be doing every year, we must have an identity, how the Sikhs have a kada and the Muslims have their identity and Christians have theirs. And we do have so many different ones, but we must adorn the tilak, the bindi, or whichever other identity we have. We must embrace this. We've shied away from it so much that we're almost embarrassed sometimes. We've got to stop apologizing. We've got to stop being the apologetic Hindus. We've got to stop apologizing for being Hindu, for being Sanatani, because we are all inclusive. And stop referring to secularism. What is this word, secularism? Sanatani is already all inclusive. It's all inclusive. We must all be part of that. We've also got to, I feel it's really important, and Soham Foundation is working on that, as is HWI. We're working on engaging the youth and also empowering them. We must create a unity, and that is also one of the initiatives we have, and why we've done this Gita Mahotsav' today, is to connect all the different sanas, all the different Hindu organizations. So we're not divided. We're not North Hindus. We're not South Hindus. We're not African Hindus. We're just Hindu. We're Sanatani. And we must all stand together, like we did recently on the Bangladeshi issue as well. The issue that happened with the Hindus in Bangladesh, we mustn't just think that's their issue, not ours. We must stand with them in unity. I think it's really important that all these kinds of initiatives that Soham Foundation is doing, we must continue these and connect with more and more other organizations and let everybody know that we're standing together. We're Hindu first before anything else. And thank you, everybody. It's been really empowering, enlightening, and really inspiring to be able to connect with all of you and to hear from all of you. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. I think with this, we should close off. We're very good on time. Thank you very much, Maji. Exactly 9 o'clock. Well done. But thank you again for everyone. Thank you, Dushyant, for anchoring it through. Thank you, Maji, for supporting it. And everyone who took time on Friday evening to make this successful. And, more initiatives to come next year. I wish everyone, be safe, have jab. And let's meet next year with more things on the plate. Thank you very much, and Jai Shri Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Meeting will end now. Thank you.
कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भुमा ते संगोत्स कर्मणि